Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate that, and thank you for being with us, Mr. Miko. It's important that we empower state-led wildlife management and we let science guide those practices. Colorado Parks and Wildlife, our state management agency, does a great job of following science-based management. Despite that, radical environmentalists weren't satisfied with the Colorado Wildlife Commission's 2016 decision not to support a wolf reintroduction proposal. Instead, they funneled millions of dollars from out-of-state groups to fund ballot box biology and force a wolf reintroduction through the ballot. In reality, the communities of Boulder and Denver imposed $1 million problem on hardworking families on the western slope of Colorado. Under the 10J final rule for the gray wolf in Colorado, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service designated Colorado Parks and Wildlife as the lead agency and required an annual management report due by June 30th each year. Has Colorado Parks and Wildlife indicated to the Fish and Wildlife Service whether it will meet the June 30th deadline for the March 31st, 2024 through April 1st, 2025 reporting period?
I appreciate the question, Congressman. I've not heard anything to the contrary to that, but we're happy to follow up with you.
Great. If you would, I would appreciate that. In 2023, Colorado Parks and Wildlife captured and relocated 10 wolves from Oregon only after Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana all refused to participate. And then in 2025, Colorado captured and relocated 15 wolves from British Columbia. What role does the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service play in overseeing endangered species relocation across state lines versus international borders?
I appreciate that follow-up, and the Fish and Wildlife Service does have a role to play both domestically and at our national borders in moving wildlife. Admittedly, I'm a fish biologist by training, and I'm not fully versed in ESA and some of those regulations, but I have to follow up with you in more detail if that's desired.
If you wouldn't mind doing that, I'd appreciate that, and I would tell you that this decision to get these wolves into Colorado from British Columbia was done right at the end of the Biden administration, and it was almost appeared to be being done by the governor of Colorado in a very rushed way to make sure that it was done before a certain date on January 20th. So I would appreciate it if you'd kind of take a look at that and see what role Fish and Wildlife may have played and what we can do moving forward. According to the final record of decision, the ESA does not prohibit the state of Colorado from partnering with other states to capture gray wolves in states where they are not listed under the ESA and transport those wolves to Colorado for release. I understand that the Fish and Wildlife Service issued a port exception permit allowing Colorado to import these wolves from British Columbia. And my question is, this didn't require any environmental review or analysis by the Fish and Wildlife Service, is that correct?
The Fish and Wildlife Service did issue a designated port exception permit to Colorado Parks and Wildlife, and the permits are covered by categorical exclusion under NEPA and does not require further review.
And that permit was issued under the Biden administration, is that correct? Do you know?
I don't know the answer to that.
I believe that's correct, but okay. And then I've got just a little bit of time here. As of June 2025, 5 of the 15 wolves imported from British Columbia have died. So that's a 67% survival rate. According to the state plan, a survival rate below 70% within 6 months should trigger a translocation protocol review. Has Colorado Parks and Wildlife consulted with Fish and Wildlife on initiating a protocol review?
I appreciate the follow-up, and unfortunately, I'm unfamiliar with those details and would have to follow back up with you.
Okay. And do you know if the Fish and Wildlife Service would consider this survival rate when deciding whether to issue another port exception permit to Colorado for additional translocated wolves?
Yeah, I'm uncertain of what all is considered in those designating of those exception permits.
Okay. If you wouldn't mind, if you could get back to us on some of those questions, I would greatly appreciate it. This is really important. It was forced on Colorado by ballot box biology, as I said at the outset. We have a governor that is insistent on doing this, and in my view, sort of snuck around the federal government in a way, trying to get it at the last minute before President Trump took office. Thank you, Madam Chair.